Most High God in my tongue. Peace and blessings. This is Unplug 'em. I just want to go through a teaching that I think you're going to enjoy right along with the spelling spell. This is going to kind of piggyback off of that. As you see, I've got my old notes from the spelling spell with one page anyway, and I've got some brand spanking new notes, fresh fire, fresh manner, and we're going to come down real hard. Please believe it. You're going to enjoy this one. Okay, Project Janus. Now, some of you are familiar with the mind control programs of this nation of ours, of this land, of this world that is really the devil's kingdom. The devil is the prince of this world. Whether you believe in scripture or not, you can look at the world around you, and if you look with untainted eyes and open ears, you'll see it, you'll hear it. If you use your senses, you'll feel it, and you will understand that there's much devilment afoot, no matter what you believe in and what you ascribe to, and if you believe in and ascribe to nothing. Just your common sense will tell you that there's some orchestrated things going on around you, and we're going to kind of show and prove how some of those things get orchestrated and put together by way of mind control programs. Mind control programs are very big. The most notable of which is MK Ultra, and out of MK Ultra, which there's lots of information on. So, you know, I'm not going to spend time talking about things that you can readily find. My purpose is to try to break down things that I don't see other people break down, and they need breaking down in this last days and times. But MK Ultra spawned several programs. One is Project Umbrella, which is the program aimed at the music business, or really the program that birthed the music business. That's right, the music business, as you know, it was birthed out of a mind control program. But it's deeper than rap. It's bigger than music. It's all about entertainment, Hollywood, the press, period. These things are instruments of Lucifer to help establish his kingdom on planet Earth, period. I don't care what you thought it was. That's what it is. And I'm going to show and prove, not show and tell. And Project Janus is another one of those programs. Project Janus encompasses it all. Now, what you will find others say on Project Janus, and I can't be responsible for what other folks say. I hope the Most High led them to say what they're saying, and that they did their due diligence, and it's going to come out right and exact like this will. But what you will find others say is that it's about creating mind-controlled slaves for assassins. Now, you will find that in entertainment as well. We know that Elvis had a connection to law enforcement. We know Shaq has a connection to law enforcement. We know Steven Seagal has a connection to law enforcement, and I maintain that is because law enforcement and government is all tied in with entertainment. If you look back, you will find that the old movie reels, in place of the previews we now see, you used to see news clips. Hollywood and the news and the government, they were all intertwined from the very beginning, and they still are today. This is why you see false flags, and why these false flags are promoted by your media outlets, your mainstream media outlets primarily. And also, you will also see by the end of this video how you can spot the devil, because he must put markers on his things. This game would be totally unfair. You would be battling against an entity that is millennia old, and you would have absolutely no chance unless there were rules to the game. And our Most High is a fair and just God, and he makes sure, and we know God is Gomar Azdubar, no sim antics. Don't play with me. You know I know that stuff. So let's just talk. Let's talk real talk. You know that the creator that we serve is a fair and just one. And so he makes sure that those who are illiterate even have a chance at escaping the devil. He makes sure that those who don't have formal education still have a chance. And it's because the devil must leave some obvious signs. People wonder. I even heard Fred Springmeyer, who I respect and have learned a lot about mind control and MK Ultra from. I even heard him question, why does the devil leave markers and signs and symbols or premonition type scenes in movies and whatnot to tell you what he's going to do, quote unquote, because we know that there are servants peons that he uses to institute his policies and to do his dirty deeds. So why do they put these things, these markers, on all things Luciferian? It is because it's the way that the Most High keeps this game equalized. It's so that you have a fair chance. You would not have a fair chance otherwise. So it's a blessing. Once we know what to look for, we will see that the Most High has given us rules, natural rules of the natural universe, and even demons must follow these things, and those who are under the control of demons, those who think they have power over the spirit realm. In reality, the demons have them wrapped around their finger, as Sting so famously sang. But you will find all throughout pop culture, you will find this duality thing that comes from Project Janus, which is bigger than just simply creating. And I mean, it's a big deal to create mind control assassins. Please believe me. But it's bigger than simply being that. If it was simply that, you could ignore it by and large, because unless you're involved in certain things, why would that ever touch you? But this touches you because you've heard Duran Duran. You know who Sirhan Sirhan was. He was an assassin who was a totally brainwashed mind control slave, much like John Lennon's assassin was, whose story was so unique they even made a movie about him. But Sirhan Sirhan maintained he didn't remember nothing that happened. I'm talking about up until years and years and years later. He never admitted to knowing that he had anything to do with the assassination of Robert Kennedy. Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? Well, if you contrary, you may not know. Contrary is another word for being rebellious, stubborn. It can also be applied to being double-minded. Tony, this is interesting because there you have three. Nobody in the group was named Tony, but there was two individuals named Raphael, fulfilling your twin symbolism of Project Janus. Why do they put this symbolism in there? Because it's part of the rules to the game. If there's a deeper reason somebody knows, please share. But this is what has been revealed to me through this cycle of information. And I say cycle because this is something that steadily comes to me. Every so often somebody comes up with a new one. Hey man, you thought about this one? And I have to add it to my list. My list is longer than this. This is just what I could come up with on the fly. So please forgive me and come up with more. Scotty Scott. This is one of the most damning examples. Why? Because Scotty Scott is not only a double name, where we see the twin thing going on with the name, but he himself is a twin, one of the twin lead singers of the group called The Whispers, classic R&B group. Everybody mama love them. Some of us that enjoy old school, we love them too. It was one of my favorite groups. Keep on Loving Me was the song that I had to put on my documentary because the Most High showed me, as I'm listening to it for enjoyment, he showed me that it too had the witch language in it, and the Keep On Loving Me is not dedicated to a woman, but dedicated to Lucifer, who offers them the lifestyle that's exhibited in the video. If you watch the video, you see them walking the pathway, and you see them walking the walk this way, walking the walk to end up in a place where they're partying and there's lots of girls, and it had nothing to do with what you think the song would be about, okay? But that just goes to show you don't know what these songs are about. You're kept up under a spell. The songwriter's secret or the witch language depends on you being under the wrong impression of what the song is about. Simone Simon. Now, you've heard of cult classic movies. There's a cult classic movie called Cat People. Okay, the Cat People stars an MK Ultra victim named Simone Simon. Simone Simon is the same name twice with an E at the end. Okay, Simone and Simon, same name, drop the E at the end. Philip Phillips, as I had said before on one of the other videos, this was revealed to me by way of my while I was recording in the studio. We actually were taking a break. At the time I still smoked, and we were taking a smoke break. And brother Gino, whose house I was recording at, was sitting there, and we was both looking at the television, and he had Idol on. I don't follow Idol. I didn't know any of the contestants that was on Idol, but all of their names were listed at the bottom of the screen. And so I looked at the bottom of the screen. I said, wow. I said, I said, that guy right there. I said, Gino, you want some money? I said, you bet on that guy right there. He's going to win. I didn't know none of the contestants. I didn't know one guy from the next. I didn't know who had skills, who was good, who was bad. All I saw was the double name. And lo and behold, he won Idol. I hope Gino got him a couple dollars off of that. Now here in Detroit, there was a big fervor over the public school system. I'm a proud graduate of DPS, Detroit Public Schools. They've undergone some terrible, terrible changes that have helped make the city intolerable for many, but especially for the youth, for my nieces and nephews. And one of the guys that the nieces and nephews began to get active against was the guy that they brought in from D.C. Again, you got to remember, there's government connection to this, because it's the CIA that is by and large behind Project Janus, the same ones who are behind MK Ultra. And that's, a D.C. thing. It's a Virginia thing too. As we look at the Marvin thing, hopefully we'll get to look at the Marvin thing, if I don't go too slow. But Marvin Gaye, we will find, was also intertwined in this Project Janus, and his story with him and Tammy Terrell is chock full of that stuff. And the famous incident of her fainting and falling down on him on stage, which changed him and changed his life forever. That famous incident happened near CIA headquarters, ironically. But you have Robert Bob. That's the same name twice. First of all, is this man's last name really Bob? Robert, the nickname for Robert is Bob. So you mean to me people call him Bob? Or are we wiser than this? Why would the devil put these markers in names? Oh, it's a coincidence. Yes, it's a coincidence. It coincides to the fact that all of these people belong to Project Janus, named after the Roman god, Janus. Okay, now Hannah Montana. Hannah, same word forward and backward, like Anna. Anna, Marvin's first wife. Hannah Montana comes from Disney. We know Disney is steeped in mind control, and we know that's not her real name. Now we know Miley Cyrus very well. But again, this is an example of this same principle, this same duality principle. It's all about duality. Going back to the book of James, where it talks about a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. And to be exact, that's James 1:8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, right and exact, okay? So this double mind has to be created. There's an effort, a concentrated effort, a conscious effort to create a double mind in these poor individuals that they often get when they're young, impressionable children, and they want to split the mind into two. Fritz Springmeier does great work on this, and as I said, he questioned why do they put these markers. Why does the devil leave markers and show himself? Why wouldn't he just simply keep everything secret and quiet and nobody would know any of the better? It is because it's somewhat of a game, for lack of a better word, to where there are rules. There's rules to any game. And part of the rules, part of what makes it fair, so that everybody has a fair chance of knowing it's the devil, and so that when you choose him, he can go to God as the accuser and he can say willingly, they chose me. They chose me willingly. See, look, I put my mark. I showed and proved that I had that I was behind it. I left something for them to question. Now, let's go back up here for a second. You got Changing Faces. Now, Changing Faces is one of the more damning names, and I maintain that's why they're not around. We're going to get into Ron Isley, and we're going to get into pimping in the music business, all part of MK Ultra. Part of MK Ultra in creating a mind-controlled slave. You see, the women, like Simone Simons, and some of the men, are oftentimes prostituted. More often than not, you would be shocked and amazed. We're going to go down through some things. Sister Betty LaVette, former singer with the Motown Camp, She wrote a scathing tell-all book, and there were several other tell-all books that came out that have pointed to the fact that there were pimps afoot singing with Motown and hoes too. And we're going to point out a few of those. And I was really looking for the names of the people that had posted that up at first and kind of turned me on to that, and that added to my Project Janus theory. But I couldn't find their names for the life of me. Charge it to my head, not my heart. It went all through my inbox. I didn't see it. So if you happen to catch this vid, give me a holler. And we're going to continue. So Hannah Montana, you have this duality thing. Again, this is all about duality, creating two yous. So like a bad you and a good you, a Sasha Fierce and a Beyonce. So that once you have willingly separated your mind into two yous, once you've been traumatized by way of the business or by your family life, by your people trying hard to get you into the business, many ways you can be traumatized to where you willingly create another self, another identity, because you may need to do it for your entertainment purposes. Some of y'all do it to be on Facebook. You name yourself something stupid. You know, your name is Robert. I don't know. I started to say Johnson, but you know your name is Robert Farrell, and you know you call yourself Robert, getting money every day, never love a trick Farrell. You know, and this is how you begin to create another self with another name. What's in a name? Everything. You know, your personality, everything. What they call you will affect you, because what they call you is a word, and it will act as a magic word upon your psyche. Yes, sir. So your name is important. So in Changing Faces, we saw an example I found similar to Mary Mary. Now, Mary Mary kind of spooks me. They make me feel funny because they're so sexy, first of all, and thick and, you know, tight clothes wearing, especially when they first came out. Now it look like they've been hitting the buffet a little much. And, you know, hey. But, you know, I like them thick. But, again, you're supposed to be representing gospel. And the Mary Mary, the double-minded, the quite contrary. Contrary to what? Contrary to what the Bible says? Or contrary, period. Contrary means rebellious or to go against something. To be spiteful. But again, that's the Mary Mary they're talking about. Not Mary Magdalene and Mary Mother of God. It's BS. Sugar, honey, iced tea. But Mary Mary reminded me of Changing Faces, because when Changing Faces came out, first of all, I hated their music. It sounded terrible to me. I can't remember the name of the song, but I hated that song. The energy of it did something to my being. And I didn't know nothing about this Janus stuff at that time. Nothing had been revealed to me concerning this whatsoever. I was lame to the game and blind to the facts. But Changing Faces, the rumors were afoot here, at least. Well, there, because I'm still not. I ain't made it home yet, y'all. But I'm yet on the way. But the rumor on Detroit radio was, and you know, Detroit got a lot of radio juice because of the Motown thing, and everybody's very radio oriented. Listening to the radio is what folks do. And so the shows are interesting sometimes. And so they were talking some on-air personalities about Changing Faces and their relationship with Ron Isley, and how Ron Isley was either romancing both the women. The press was saying one thing about the women, and the insiders were saying another. They were saying, well, they were sisters, but then they were saying, well, they're lovers, and there was some confusion about that. Well, I maintain there's something fishy kind of like that going on here, you know. And you know, again, this is my opinion. I can have my opinion. It's not slander. How can I cause them any harm? I'm nobody, you know. But again, there's something fishy afoot with this here. And Changing Faces. Changing Faces epitomizes Project Janus, which is about changing faces. Duality, the two-faced God, Janus. the Roman god or deity that we connect directly to Gemini, and we finna do that right now. So, the Hannah, backward. The Olsen twins, again, the Hollywood duality thing. Look at how they went from being so sweet and, America's girls to now they, party girls, wilding out, taking pictures with photographers who are known for doing questionable pornographic or soft pornographic type of pictures and whatnot. And then you have Tia and Tamara, who are on a reality show, and I maintain reality shows are part of mind control programming for the stars. It's a way of flipping their minds out or seasoning them up how they want them seasoned, breaking their minds, programming them however you want to look at it. And I'm upset that my people have gotten involved in it at all. But, again, they want the bloodlines. Now, interestingly, in Detroit, now Al Allen did recently just retire. But my Gemini buddy, ironically, we was watching the Fox 2 News back home, and it's 3 reporters, Al Allen, Alan Lee, and Lee Thomas. Now, it's Fox. And, on Fox, you got lots of reps repping. And when I say reps, you know what I'm talking about. You got lots of reptilians representing on Fox. I'm just saying. So I thought that was dubious. Now, people going to say, oh, well, I know Lee Thomas and whatever. I'm saying it's awful coincidental, awful coincidental that, it's Fox, and it fits right along with this, and the news media is involved as well in Project Janus. Very big in Project Janus. Again, we've got James 1 and 8. The double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. They want to create an unstable mind so that they can control the unstable mind, possess the unstable mind, and have the unstable mind perform in front of you possessed, thus passing on the agent Smith or the demon, the possession, to you. Hollywood's Curse of 27. Now, this, it just came to me, like, at the end of this. I had all this other stuff, then this kind of came as a cherry on top, a little extra seasoning. But, again, I was like, well, Father, what's up with the 27? The Most High said, well, add it up. I added up 9. Well, how ironic that 9 is the number out of all of the numbers that you can flip upside down, you can invert, and it's a 6. Well, the 6th month is June, and June is the primary month of Gemini. 9, the 9th month is September, and that's when we had 9/11, but mostly the Virgo energy is dominant in 9, and Beyonce is a Virgo, and Virgo is desirable for sex magic. So, Abba, we know, is Hebrew for father, but there was also a group, big rock group named Abba. Xanax is tearing up the streets as a prescription drug that people are abusing on the street, and people that take it, I have witnessed it myself. I know people that have struggled with this thing, and it turns your personality backward. It causes you to have a split personality, and that is why it is a forward-backward deal, because it's also, like the rest of these words, connected to Project Janus, which is all about creating duality within the mind and possession. Janus is related to not just January, which is the first month in which Capricorn dominates. Capricorn is the symbol of the goat. You find the symbol of the goat to be connected to Satanism, devil worship, going way, way back to the Baphomet in the early days, Then you got the Roman god Janus, of course, whom this whole program is named after. He's the two-headed god. You watch football on Sunday, you will see a financial company with the symbol of Janus. Gemini rules the finances. Also, there's a doorway company here. Ironically, the doorway, to create new doorways in the mind. There's a doorway company in Detroit called Janus, the #1 doorway company. I happened to see it's on Warren Ave. I was riding the bus one day and happened to go down Warren Ave and saw the headquarters. And I said, I got to go in there and take some pictures or just, kind of hang around and see what's up with the Janus thing. But why would they call themselves Janus? Now, this is in an Arabic area of Detroit. I don't know if y'all know, but Detroit has the second highest concentration of Middle Easterners next to the Middle East. And that's why I maintain there will be a false flag in Detroit. of some kind, and they're going to blame it on the Muslims, on my Muslim brothers and sisters. However, the Roman god Janus and Janus doors, that's quite dubious. The doorways, they want to create double doors, another a doorway into you to possess by way of duality. Okay, so from Janus, you get lots of words here. I was watching a cable movie, one of those series that's on cable. I think it was one of the series about the Jailbreak Brothers. I don't know which one it was, but anyway, they ran past a subway. And to my brothers in the NYC, if you can help me out on this, I greatly would appreciate that. And the subway, the street that the subway was on was a street called Junius. I guess we could look that up and find out if there's a street called Junius in New York City. But that's where the scene was set. Junius relates directly to Janus and helped me understand how Janus is the root word of genius, which it is in etymology. Janus is also the root word of genie. Janus is also the root word of jinn, genie and jinn. Jinn that you drink, the spirits, air. Gemini is an air sign. June, of course, comes from Janus. Gemini primarily is the sign of June. Jinn, the Arabic word for demon. The two-headed deity, one for drama or comedy, or even more correctly said, tragedy in comedy. Gemini rules entertainment. It starts at the end of May, around the 20th, 21st. You got, which is the 5th month, and the 6th month are what you use for Gemini, and 5 and 6 are 11. 11 is duality. Okay? Gemini is also the third sign, or the first ambiguous sign. Some say in astrology you go male, female, male, female, male, female, male, female, starting with the male sign of Aries, female sign of Taurus, then you would go male sign of Gemini. That's what some say. But we heard in some deeper teachings some years back that Gemini begins the ambiguous sign. So you have male, female, both, male, female, both, male, female, both, male, female, both going around the zodiac clock. So that would be the first ambiguous sign, both, again, bringing you to right back to duality and possession. We know it also to be the symbol for Laugh Now, Cry Later, which Ice Cube, who was a Gemini, named his album, one of his last albums, Laugh Now, Cry Later. We know symbolic of the tattoo that oftentimes Geminis will get of the comedy tragedy symbol. Gemini is also known as the hustler, the sign over commerce and actors. Well, actors have to act as if they are someone else. They are a walking, living example of duality. Okay, the hustler, the commerce, the willing and dealing of finances. This also relates back to Gemini and Janus, which you see as a finance company when you watch your football games on Sunday. Those of you who engage in such folly. No, I'm just kidding. Enjoy your games. But this was something, too, I thought was interesting. I'm not even going to go through all of this. You just kind of look at it yourself. If you want to pause it, whatever. There's enough done on Big and Pac. You know, I hate to do stuff that people have heard enough about already. But the Most High was showing me how that was a big exercise in duality. Look at it. Think about it. Bigpac. You got Christopher Wallace, Christ Offer Wallace, and you got Lassane Crooks. Really the same crooks. But NY, LA. Now we know Pac was really from New York, but by way of the Bay, he was claiming LA toward the end. Live and die in LA. New York, East Coast, West Coast, right? Just left us. You got the right and the left. Some people call the West Coast the left coast. From the East Coast began the knowledge rap, the conscious rap, and when it went to the West Coast, it switched over to the gangster rap. Biggie represented the bad looks, the ugliness of old New York. Pac represented the good looks and the prettiness of L.A. The fat, the husky, Biggie. The skinny, the slim, Pac. Darker, Biggie. Lighter, Pac. Crip-affiliated Biggie, blood-affiliated Pac. Okay. Business instead of game, the Shining Serpent. Pac's name meant the Shining Serpent. Now, Face Off, Facebook. Manny Faces from He-Man, Possession, Sasha Fierce, Beyonce, same thing, Possession. There will be a part 2, in a minute. Shalom.